Welcome back to my channel Lomzy Sews. In today's sewing tutorial, I'll show you how to cut and sew two-piece, shirts and palazzo pants. If this is what you like to learn, make sure not to skip any part of this video. It's a very simple tutorial. To cut this, I used 4.5 yards of crepe fabric. It's the dry type of crepe fabric. As you can see, it's not the stretchy type. So first I'm going to lay my fabric like so. I have laid it and it's 4 pieces. I extended the back 3.5 inches. Then I'm going to take the length of the trouser. We are making the trouser first. From the waistline, I'm going to come down 2 inches for the band. So I'm going to be starting from the 2 inches to mark the length of the trouser and all the lines I'm taking. So I marked this line here and squared it out, and then the next line is my crotch depth. From that place I took my crotch depth of 10 inches. From here to the side seam, I measured the hip divided by 4 plus 5 inches from here to here. So next we are going to mark the round of the hip line. So from here you measure hips divided by 4 plus 1 inch for sewing allowance and 1 inch for ease, and you square it down to the crotch depth. So I'm going to go ahead and square this line like so. Next is the crotch extension. So from that place you're going to extend your crotch area by 3.5 inches. If you're on the plus size, you do 4 inches. If you're on the small size, you make it 3 inches. So on the hem line, I'm going to minus 3.5 inches and connect it to the crotch curve like so. So this is for the inner thigh. I'll go ahead and cut that out, and also cut out the front curve for the front, and then I'm also going to cut out the waistline. So remember, I'm cutting only the front. For the back, from the center front, I'm going to come in 1.5 inches and extend it up 1.5 inches, and then I'm going to connect that to the side seam. Then for the crotch extension, I'm going to extend it with 3.5 inches, come down 1/2 inch and connect it to the side, to the waistline like so. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. By the time I cut it out, you will see the difference between the back and the front. I'm also going to curve in the inside leg of the back. So you go ahead and curve it like that. Remember, we are making a palazzo pant. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So you see the difference between the back and the front. This is it after I was done cutting it. So the next thing is for us to open the side seam, because it's still on fold. You can actually not cut this out if you're not adding pockets to your trouser. So I'm going to take out the front so that I can add side pocket to it. I have this fabric, it's on fold, so it's 4 pieces as you can see. I'm going to use this for the side pockets. So what I have here is 9 inches by 15 inches. So I'll mark 9 inches, and from there I'm going to curve the pocket hem. You curve it out like this, and then I'm going to notch for the center so that I know where the fold matches. So I'll open this out like this. So I have 2 pieces here and place the front panel of the trouser on it like this. So I'm going to go in 3.5 inches and come down 5.5 inches like so, and connect this for the side pockets. And I'll go ahead and cut this out. Remember, I'm cutting only one side of the side pocket. So starting, I'm going to go to my machine and sew the center front and also sew the side pocket. And also for the back, I'm going to also close the crotch area. So after sewing it, this is the side pocket and I've closed the crotch, also the back. So I'm going to place the back pants onto the front pants and sew the side seam, the same thing on the other side, and then I open up and sew the crotch, the inside leg. So you just sew the inside leg all the way down, and then you're going to hem this, turn it 2 times. So next is for me to sew elastic band for this. So I'm going to make elastic casing, and after I'm done, I'm going to insert elastic into the casing. With this, the pant trouser is ready, the elastic, the pocket. So we're going over to the shirt. I folded my fabric into 4 and I've left 4 inches for placket and button stand. So next thing I'm going to do is for us to take down the measurements we're using for the shirt. So note, I'm going to take from here, I'm going to take the length of the shirt. So the length of the shirt plus 2 inches, and I'll mark it here. So I added ½ inch sewing allowance. I'm going to go ahead and square this line out so that this line would be the starting line. So I increased by ½ inch. I'm going to go ahead and draw the main line where the shirt is starting from, which is ½ inch from here. So the ½ inch up is for sewing allowance. Next, we are going to start our measurement. So from that line, the main line, I'm going to come down to my armhole length 10 inches, and then the waistline 17 inches, and then the length of the shirt plus 2 inches sewing allowance. I'll go ahead and square this line out. So we just have 2 lines, the armhole line and the waist line. Next, I'll be marking the shoulder width. So from the center back, you're going to divide your shoulder divided by 2 and mark it here. And you're going to drop it by 1.75 so that you have shoulder drop. So from the center back to where you have, you're going to square it down to the armhole line. So I added 1.75 to my normal shoulder width divided by 2 and square that line out. I'll come down on that line by 1 inch, and then on my neck width I'm going to mark 3 inches and connect this to the shoulder slope. On the armhole line, which is also the chest line, you're going to divide the bust divided by 4 plus ½ inch sewing allowance and 1.5 inches for ease and mark it here. You're going to square that down to the hem line. Also on the waistline, you're going to square it before we shapen the waistline. So on the waistline, you're going to come in 1 inch and you mark the side seam like this. Next is for me to draw the armhole curve. So I'm going to draw the armhole curve for the front and the back to be the same, because this is a free shirt we are making. So go ahead and draw that like this, and I added ½ inch sewing allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the lines I have on my back, on my front panel. We will need this later. So because this is a shirt, we are going to increase the back length, the shoulder length. So I'm going to come up 1 inch and also ½ inch for joining allowance. So I'm adding 1.5 inches for the back because this is a shirt. I hope you understand. So I'm going to connect this like so. You're adding this 1.5 inches so that the shirt would balance well on your body. So note the lines and everything. So I'm going to cut out the side seam. I'm cutting both the front and the back side seam. And also for the armhole curve, I'm going to cut for both the front and the back. And for the shoulder, I'll be cutting just the back only. So I'm going to raise this up and cut out the back only. That was why we marked the lines I marked earlier on, so that I will see where my lines are. So I'm marking the neck width like so. I'll go ahead and take out the back so that I can mark for the front. So these are my lines, my initial lines. So from here I'm going to come down neck width of 4 inches and neck depth of 3 inches and connect it like this. And also for the shoulder drop, I'm going to come down 1 inch and mark that. I'll also add the ½ inch joining allowance. So I'll go ahead and cut these lines out. I made a mistake in front. I should have closed the placket. I should have closed this placket before cutting that. So this is what I would have done before cutting this. Don't make this mistake I just made. So I'm supposed to have folded this before cutting. So I'll find a way to work around it. On the hemline, I'm going to come up 3½ inches and connect this, make a curve for the shirt. So I went ahead and folded the flap for the shirt. As you can see, you add your button stand here and you're going to make the buttonhole on the other side. So I used my hemming gum to hem this down after adding hairstay to one side. So do well to do the same thing to yours. Next is to join the shoulders. So I'm going to bring the back and join the shoulder here. After joining this is how it's looking. You can see the shoulder have dropped, so we are going to notch the new shoulder, and then I'm going to mark for the sleeve. So you're going to take whatever you have here and use it for your sleeve. I have 12½ inches that I've gotten from here. So this is my fabric folded into 4, and the width is the width I got from the sleeve curve, which is 12.5 inches. And then for the length, I made it 23 inches. As you can see, I'm going to draw 3 inches down for the sleeve head, and this is because we're making a shirt. So I'm going to draw this diagonally, and from this place I'm going to make the curve for the sleeve. I'll go ahead and cut that out. And then on the hem of the sleeve, you're going to reduce 3½ inches or more. It depends on how you want the sleeve to be. It's a shirt and it's a free shirt, so play around with that. Then for the hem, you can decide to hem it at this point, or you can decide to make it a cuff by adding slits there and gather it. So you decide whichever one you want. If you want to add cuff to this, you come in like 3 inches and notch this place so that you can make a slit here. But I don't want to add cuff to mine, so I'm going to notch the center back, the center of the sleeve, and attach the sleeve to it. So this is it after I was done. So next is to hem the lower part. On the center front, on the hem line, you're going to turn your placket like this and sew your hemming allowance, and then the rest you can either stitch it after overlocking it, or you can double fold it like this and stitch it, whichever one you want to. With this, the shirt is almost ready. Next is for us to sew the collar, the shirt collar. So I folded my shirt into 2 like this. I'm going to take the neckline like so. Whatever you have, we're going to use this to make the shirt collar. So I'll set this aside and bring my interfacing. I'll mark what I have gotten from the shirt collar without the button stand in front. So divide that by 2, whatever you have, that's what you're going to mark here, and you mark the width, the final width of your shirt. You can make it 4½ inches, 3½ inches. It depends on how exaggerated you want it to be. Next, I'm going to mark 3/4 of that, whatever I have for my shirt width here. And on the edge here, I'm going to come up ½ inch and connect it with this like you see me do. Extend it 1 inch. So from here, I'm going to mark the button stand, and then I'll mark the width of the collar stand. You can make it 1½ or 1.25, it depends, or even 1 inch. So you go ahead and connect this like this, and then you're going to curve it like this here. So I'll go ahead and smoothen the curve so that I don't have any sharp corner. Next, you're going to mark ½ inch from that collar stand and connect it like this. So next, you're going to mark the shape of the shirt collar. So you're going to connect this out like this and also make any design you want for the shirt collar. Note that I'm cutting this on the interfacing, not a pattern. So after cutting this out, I'm going to use this to interface on the fabric, on the main fabric for the shirt collar. So go ahead and cut out and note the places I'm cutting and trimming off. So after cutting this out, I'm going to interface this straight on my fabric. So this is the way the collar stand is looking. Make sure to cut out any sharp corner. Also for the shirt collar, I'll go ahead and cut that out. So for the shirt collar, I'm making it a 2-piece. So this is it like this. I'll go ahead and interface it and cut out lining for the shirt. So from here, I'm going to sew this like this. After sewing it, this is what I have. Next is for me to add this to the collar stand. So this is it. I'm going to notch this place. I've already notched it and also notched the center of the collar stand. So I'm going to align it like this, pin it down, and I'm going to stitch it like so. After stitching it, this is how it's looking. Next is for us to attach this to the shirt. So I mark the center back and I'm going to align it to the shirt collar like this, and go ahead and sew this and turn it the other way. This is it after sewing it. So I'll go to my machine now and do a stitch in the ditch here, and we are done with the shirt, guys. And after I was done, this is how the pants is sitting properly. Very nice. Can you see the crotch area? Nothing is dragging. And for the shirt, you can see how it's relaxed on my body. Very comfy and in fact very comfortable, guys. I must tell you, if you enjoyed this tutorial, let me know in the comment section and give this video a thumbs up. Please guys, a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.